Hello everybody, John here, and today onto the garage we've got a real treat because look, twins. So thanks to Leslie and Julian who have loaned us George. This is two 1996 Autosleepers, essentially the same interior arrangements except two things. One is obviously Betsy is a trophy and therefore has that really large overhang on the back, making it incredibly expensive to build. And George has the standard body, and you can see the difference inside when Autosleeper tried to do the two layouts with and without their own extended body. Plus the extra bonus feature of George, this one, has spent more of his life in Japan than he has in the UK, and is a Japanese spec vehicle, so there's all sorts of little oddities and great stuff and goodies to have a look at. So let's just compare. Okay, so we've got the two vans alongside each other, and trophy on the far side, talent on the near side. So first thing to just look at is length, and both short wheelbase vans. So you look at that gap there, that's the distance it tells you it's a short wheelbase van. And there's a conventional back which finishes just after the slider track. And then we look across to the trophy and you see we're still a short wheelbase van, same little gap that down there, but we've got that extra metre behind the slider. And you join that together with the enormous rear bumper versus the standard rear bumper. Both very distinctively Autosleeper, literally the same year. So very similar liveries. They've got the black panelling which you expect on these. But again, we're just now going to look at the back panels. There's the trophy, very tapered back, and then we compare that to George, who obviously has a tailgate, and we've got the standard position of the tail lights a bit further apart, and the standard bumper. Really intriguing to see them next to each other. The right hand side of the Talent has both the big vents for cooker and fridge, plus water heater, the water tank and the electrical hookup. If we back off now and see the same area on the trophy, you'll see we've only got the water heater, water filler and hookup, because the layout's different inside, positioning the big vents just there. Both cab units are the same spec. Just looking at the front bumper, is actually lower on George than on Betsy. There's like an extension piece which actually suits it quite well. Add that to the extra inch of ride height on Betsy. Betsy looks off-road. For anybody who's unsure, yes, it is normal to have two totally different mirrors on a T4 of this era. So landscape, portrait, landscape and portrait. Okay, so more of a quick reminder than anything else. Here we are in my UK spec Autosleeper Trophy. So cab, pretty much as you would expect in any VW T4 anywhere in the UK, bar maybe a few extra blanking plates on the dash, manual transmission, and then we got the standard Volkswagen van seats that were retrimmed by Autosleeper. Up above, basically a flat panel, roof lights added in by Autosleeper. We look around and it's high top front to rear, except for that little area over the cab, we have the double 3 if you're cozy bench seat opposite me. This seat here, which maybe sticks out into the door aperture, maybe by a foot. And then in the back, on the left, we have the cooker and oven. On the right, we have the fridge and the sink arrangements. And hanging out way beyond the back axle is our wet room with wardrobes, shower tray, cassette toilet, fold down sink, etc. The van gets quite narrow towards the back. It's a sort of styling thing. So that's just a quick reminder of what it's like in the standard van. Now we're going to pop into George. Start in the cab. Now obviously there's a few aftermarket additions on this van, but there's an awful lot of it that is because Japan, which is really, really interesting. So we got some switch gear over here, exhaust temperature, no idea. We have a different looking heater control set. Now this is the same year of van, so that intrigues me, and it's because aircon. So this car has aircon. Well, let's start with our first couple of, oh my god, bits of Japan. We look up, airbags above your head. Totally brilliant. Can't imagine how they deploy if the sun visor is in that position. Probably very effectively, but I've never seen it happen. I've never seen post-production airbags, if I'm honest, fitted to a vehicle, but you know, these were from new. We'll come back to that big arrangement up there in a moment. And I'd like to address your attention now to the seats, which are very broad, very flat, quite hard, and you know, by Julian and Leslie's admission, not comfortable seats, but quite evidently were there from new. I don't know if this is an option from Autosleeper or this is again a Japanese spec thing, but they're very wide seats. Automatic transmission, electric windows. Japan likes toys. So I'm going to pop into the back now, but not before we have a look at this sticker, which I've never seen on any UK Autosleeper, which doesn't mean it wasn't fitted. There we go. Obviously the most important feature. So just going to open the side door on George, and immediately you can see the difference in the length means that the seat is fully out into the door aperture, rather than on the Trophy that's only sticking out by maybe a foot. And there's this modification to the step area because it's a narrower step up. Got two positions for the tables, whereas we've only got one down there at the front. And then again, we got these very broad, very flat seats. I'll be really intrigued if anybody knows anything about these seats for them to tell us about it, because genuinely never seen them like that before. And then we look up and we got more Japan goodies. So there's your integrated TV, and it has a slot on the side for your DVDs. There's all the controls for it. Absolutely wonderful. Great piece of automotive gadgetry. So we continue to look around the top. You recognise standard features of the Autosleeper interior, and because again this Talent rather than a Trophy, we don't have the over cab locker. We have fold down boards which enable you to have an upstairs bed, which we don't get in the Trophy. Continue to look round, and whereas we've got this sort of bench seat in the Trophy as standard, in this as standard you've got the two forward facing seats, but that one can slide down and forward and convert into a side facing snug two-seater, let's say. Fridge on that side, so the opposite side to in Betsy. Same two controller units for the blown air heating and the water heater, but I note Henry, that's not a brand name we're familiar with. So again, is that a spec thing? And the right hand side, we've actually got a longer unit than is in the Trophy, despite this being the shorter vehicle, with the cooker on this side and grill below, but no oven. You move further back and you have your sink, and the sink is actually a bigger sink. Turn you around some more, and on this side we have basically storage plus the Zig unit. Now this was appealing to exactly the same market as the Trophy was, but without that extension. They were trying to package everything in the same way and in the same style. It obviously doesn't fit, but really nice little engineering solution here is this unit, which draws out, and I'll show you that. So that slides forward like so, and there is a cassette toilet, and that drops down. But it also makes a seat for you to sit looking the other way to do your washing up, do your face, etc. Little table stored there at the back. More interesting stuff. If I open the cupboard that has the LPG in, still got a Japanese spec gas bottle and regulator. Brilliant. I'd like to note that one of the bits that does look a bit aftermarkety, I'd just like to remind you that that's obviously a UK 3-pin socket with a weather shield on it. That's because that wouldn't have had that socket, because this is Japanese spec. 12 volt supply. Okay, so around the back, obviously we've got Japanese spec number plate holder. They always go for this shape on their rears as standard, and it's, although it's got UK plates on, it's still got the original bracketry for Japan. Okay. Yeah, so when we moved the toilet forward, obviously we lifted that little latch there, and the cassette for that is in the side. Oops, forward a little bit further. In the side, but it's the same unit as is in the Trophy, just accessed a different way. So yeah, tailgate on the back rather than the bodywork gives it a totally different aspect and means you can actually load something into it, whereas on the Trophy, although it's even longer, you can't actually get things in because of going around the corner. So as a van, it's pretty much failure, whereas this has some still has some usability. And yeah, with the tailgate open as well, the back of this cupboard, you've got this, and this fits with this, and that goes in there, and you've now got the mixer for your hot and cold water for your shower, for external use, And if I just turn you up here a little, we've got all of the shower curtain track around the tailgate, which means this can be hooked up and you've got your shower out the back. So other than oven, it has actually pulled off all the same facilities, not necessarily all indoors, but it's pulled off all the same facilities as are in the Trophy in that same space. And we've even got Thetford toilet products manual in Japanese, written in kanji. Little treat for everybody in Japan. Brilliant. There are lots of other sort of stickers and logos and badges hidden around the van that are in Japanese, but we literally have no idea what they mean. And this one particularly, as it's on the front of the cooker, I'd be really interested if somebody who can speak a bit of kanji, a bit of kanji, can decipher that one for us. Just pure interest. We don't know what this means either, but it looks very important, some sort of certificate, and it does have talent written there. These red squares, like a stamp, generally that's the equivalent of a signature. The DVD player up here obviously plays the wrong region for the UK. So Japanese DVD player upstairs, and below the driver's seat a modification includes fitting a UK DVD player. So beneath the bonnet we have a 2.5 litre straight 5 petrol engine. So quite a lively motor, and again little bits and pieces that tell you that its original market was Japan, not Europe. What the Scooby-Doo is that? No idea what that is. The roof profile on these vans is the same at the front, even down to the styling lines. But as you go further back on the Talent, it's got the little cutout for what appears to be like a roof rack. Whereas on the Trophy, it's smooth all the way to the back. And because the whole rear end is fiberglass, no ladder, no roof rack, and you've got a skylight right at the top, which is for the shower room. Or an absolute treat to have these two vehicles together for a little look round. Really, really brilliant. And this flooring works well with it. I guess they've gone for a vinyl because from the back, which is essentially your toilet area, you'd want the vinyl flooring, and being a shorter floor, it just made sense to continue it all the way through. Two outlets down there for the blown air heating, a little port to stuff the seat belts on both sides. Little cupboard. Interestingly, the Zig unit is branded Autosleeper, which it isn't in mine. little cupboard. And I will just share the pocket door, which is really nifty on this van, because obviously look at the aperture that you're trying to seal off. It's not obvious how this is going to work. So you, look at that. See, shaped panel, which is followed by a two-section door to block off what can become your toilet area. Well, that's the end of this short video comparing the Talent with the Trophy and a Japanese spec vehicle with a UK spec vehicle. Really interesting. I want to thank Leslie and Julian for loaning us George for a few hours just to compare notes. It's been brilliant. I'll also point out that they are going to sell this van. So if anybody is interested in it, I'll put some contact details in the description below if you want to get in touch with them. And I guess offers around the £12,000 mark may result in you being the owner of a Japanese George, if that's what this should be called. But it's in very good condition. I've probably filmed the worst bits on it so you can see, but if you've got more interest and you want to get in touch, then look in the description below and I'll leave some contact details. So if you enjoyed this video, then please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, share, and really interested in your comments. What do you think to the Talent? How does it compare to the Trophy or to your Autosleeper? And what do you think to all the Japanese tweaks and mods? Let us know. We're going to be interested. Of course, £12,000 is way too cheap because look what you get free with it. A To The Garage sticker. So, bargain of the century.